You're listening to The Small Council, a Game of Thrones podcast. Find us on Twitter at smallcouncilpod. Email us at smallcouncilpod@gmail.com. Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural episode of The Small Council, formerly known as Podcast Littlefell. I am your host, W. Axel Foley. With me this evening are Mike Hull, DJ Tim Hines, and, of course, Donald. Donald is with us again. Heath may be joining for another episode this week. We're going to be trying to do 2 episodes per week. You can find us on Twitter at smallcouncilpod. You can email us at smallcouncilpod@gmail.com. As I said, we just changed the name, something a little bit different, kind of cool. That's what we were kind of calling ourselves last year anyway, so now we are the Small Council. Tell your friends, go, review us on iTunes, whatever. We had the premiere of Game of Thrones this evening, and we're all going to discuss it. I'd like to go around first and get everyone's initial, just good or bad, highs and lows, just a brief synopsis of your feelings when the credits appeared on the screen. Mike, what do you think, buddy?
At the very beginning, I was like, I don't want to watch this. I want to read it. And then 30 seconds into it, I was like, that was stupid. It was great.
Fantastic. DJ Tim Hines.
I thought the pacing was right on point with, typical Game of Thrones. It just, set up. It was a great reintroduction to this, to the show. It kind of recapped a little bit, but not too much, which they've never really done too much before, but a little bit, which I didn't mind because it all flowed nicely. And I was happy to see, a lot of the characters back and see the main theme I took out of this is revenge. Everybody's just out for revenge of some sort.
Cool. Donald, are you on board with everyone so far, or did you hate this episode? I kind of hope you hated it, just so I can disagree with you.
I didn't hate it, but I thought it was pretty boring. It was just like you walking around the neighborhood and just checking in with your neighbors and seeing how everyone's doing. It wasn't. I understood why they did it. I just wish it maybe had went for like a 2-hour premiere. But it was nice checking in with everybody until we got to Dorne, and then I hated that part.
Okay. I'm going to go on the pretty positive side. I really liked it. I mean, I think we were maybe like 40 minutes in, and I figured to myself, okay, this is an around the horn like we're going to catch up with everyone. We didn't get any of Bran. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was great. I liked where things went. And I actually, for the first time, I liked the Dorne stuff. I was like, ugh.
I don't know exactly if Donald wanted like another big White Walker battle to start the season or what. But even though there wasn't a whole lot of, I don't know, action or whatever, there was a lot of movement as far as the stories go. I felt like for everybody, with the exception of Danny. But if you have that problem with this show, you gave up 3 seasons ago. But there was a lot of, there were the Dorne thing, like you said, you liked it for the first time. There was like an actual kind of, not only was there action taken by just a couple of people, but I thought that the shots of the guards all standing around watching and not doing anything was important. There's stuff like that suggested further movement. You saw Jaime and Cersei finally kind of coming to their point where they're like, we're going to take everything back, and we're going to do it together. And there was action, and as far as the story goes, if not, I guess, the actual characters. There was a lot of sitting, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I really agree. I like the movement on everything. And Donald, what had you so down on the Dorne stuff? And can I ask, does this have anything to do with like book knowledge, or is it a story point, or do you just continue to think like it just feels and looks cheap?
Probably a little bit of everything. I felt like I felt like they just filmed this at the end of last year and they just tacked it on. That's what it came off to me. It's like, let's just rush this plot, kill everybody off. And I felt like, from book knowledge, I feel like they killed some of the best characters, and they just quickly just did away with the plots that could have happened. Which I kind of prepared myself for that last year because I could tell that probably the most interesting Dorne characters were just literally sitting down the whole time. So I don't know what the Sand Snakes and everybody are preparing. That might turn into something interesting. I guess I was just looking for just a little bit more meat. Everything in there was fine. I like I said, I didn't hate the episode. It was just enough to just tease your tongue. You know, you didn't really fill me up. It's not necessarily a complaint. It's just I just a long wait like that. I just wanted more.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Again, when we did the last episode and we talked about when I rewatched, I found without the expectations I feel that kind of some book stuff had on me, even though I'm not a book reader. Just hearing from people kind of tainted my perception of the Dorne stuff. And I kind of lost that with the rewatch, and I lost it tonight, and I kind of liked it. I still think that it could do with a grand vista shot to show us what we're seeing. That
big establishing shot. I understand.
Yeah, just like not this same garden all the fucking time. The garden, you know, it's like, is this whole fucking thing a garden? Did they get off the beach and they were like, oh, there's the garden, the only thing in Dorne?
Yeah.
You know, so that is frustrating. And maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the prince got on the boat with Jaime, but I guess he didn't.
No, he did. That was his big scene when he got killed by the sand snakes was happening on the boat. Because you see the scene with Jaime and Cersei, and then you go out and you see the wide shot at King's Landing of the boat. Of the bay and the boats out there with the Dorne symbols on the sails.
Wait, so they snuck onto the boat?
I know they went with him as protectors. Friends close, enemies closer, man.
But they were standing on.
Movies?
But they were standing on the dock when the boat went away.
She drank the antidote.
Yeah, they didn't go away. None of the girls did. All three of them were still on the dock, fast. And he didn't. He was not on. I didn't Donald, do you remember?
I think you guys got me messed up now.
This is why we're doing two shows, right? So we can get this shit right for next time.
I can tell you exactly. He left on the boat to go be hand of the king. That was the stipulation to take Marcella back, and then at the end of that scene, when you watch them off into the sea, all three sisters are standing there with the mother as her nose starts bleeding, and then she drinks the antidote.
So what happened?
Because the one girl comes and wipes her.
Wait, was that his other brother? Was that not him? Is there another prince?
Ooh, they sure did look alike. I mean, it could be a different.
We're looking like assholes right now. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, no, because I think. Look, excuse me. I think we're right. I don't think that was him. It looked a little like him, but I was like, did they change the actor? I don't think that was him. Because I think he did get on the boat, and I think that what happened, who we saw getting killed, that happened in Dorne. That was not on a boat outside of King's Landing. But we could be wrong. We could be wrong.
The initial reaction.
Let's move on. Let's get to Jon Snow. So I think my prediction that I stated, that I think that this is going to be Weekend at Johnny's, where they're going to be like carrying around a dead body for a couple of episodes. I think this is what's going to happen. Or is what we saw the last scene with Melisandre being quite older and different, mean that she does have power and she's definitely going to bring him back. Or did she do it already, and that's why she turned older, because she gave up her youth or her power for him? Anybody?
Those are all pretty valid theories. Like, I could go with any of those, because we still don't know what's going to happen. Like, there's still it to me, I didn't think that room was that big. Like, I don't know why Melisandre was in there, and then all of a sudden she was like in this back room that nobody was in with her, and she did all that getting naked and getting old stuff, and it didn't seem like she was near the body. So I'm not sure how that all translates, but there's definitely some kind of connection with her seeing that everything she's been seeing in the fire has been wrong. So she's like questioning her faith, kind of. I don't know if she is even thinking about going to John yet, or that's might be what she's.
Is that what she was doing? Was she giving up on it all by taking off the necklace and the pretense and everything, and just going to bed and hiding under the covers? Mike, do you think that's what she was doing at the end?
Well, I think it's kind of a test of faith. Like, can I take the necklace off and wake up in the morning? Who knows when the last time was she did that? And correct me if I'm wrong, but from the moment that one thing in the books is that the stone around her neck glows all the time in the books. And, as much CGI as there is in this show, I've been the whole time like, why isn't the thing in her neck glowing? Like, that should be glowing. That's such a cool part of the book. But I have to say, after complaining about that for over a year now, I think they pulled it off, because you saw it glow when she took it off. And I have to say, I feel like it was worth the wait. I think that's right. I think it's like a test, like she's kind of having a test of faith. And if she wakes up in the morning and can, strap the stone back on, I think we may be seeing her having her Thoros of Myr moment.
Or somebody grabs the stone, places it on John.
It's a little fancy for him. I don't know. Maybe
he is a pretty boy.
Maybe they could just recast it in a different necklace.
Donald, what do you think?
I still don't understand why everybody's on this Melisandre will bring him back thing. I think there's something else going to happen. And I don't think she did it off screen. I don't think we're going to see John walk in next week and say, "Oh, thanks for bringing me back off screen." I think we're going to see that. But I think there's something else. I think it's more than that. I think Melisandre's in a different area in her faith and in her life right now. I don't think she's doing that. And as far as the getting old and stuff like that, we kind of, I guess people that read the book kind of could piece that together. That might be something that's keeping her young, but people are sending me pictures on Twitter of her sitting in the bathtub without it around her neck in earlier seasons.
Yeah, but that's it. I saw that too. I saw you retweeted that. But I think it's more about intention, isn't it? Isn't everything, religion, symbols, these gods, it's about intention. So if she just happened to take that off, okay, conceivably, Mike, could you not agree? We're sitting there shooting that and we're like arguing, but people are going to think that that's the thing that made her turn on. No, because they need that so she can put her hand forward on the mirror or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, she's obviously having a big moment there.
Right. So I think it's more. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The intention was clear there.
Was to take it all off.
Right.
She took off. So you could then. Because based on show knowledge, we know nothing of this amulet around her neck, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes she has it, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she has other jewelry and shit. To me, it was that she was just taking everything off. It could have been a bracelet.
You could be right, actually. It could be that we're looking at it from a book reader point of view and knowing that there's some kind of magic there.
Yeah. And
I actually think in season 1, whenever they gave her the poison, it did glow for a second, if I'm not mistaken. But that's way back in history. So I don't know. Well, but you could be looking at it from.
And speaking
as far as like me being snotty and complaining, that's fine. That fits into my thing that I'm cool with because it's stretched out and they're in major moments,
And another kind of tie-in is the end of season 1 when we saw Pycelle get all old and decrepit. Like the reverse, getting all big.
Right,
so,
but that wasn't as drastic. That was just him showing that he was an actor.
But there could be some kind of skill that he has learned from those crafts.
Plausible. Maybe stretching it there, DJ.
I have a question for you guys. Why do you think Davos is protecting the body in that room and cares so much.
I just think he's an honorable dude, and his leader just died, and it gives him something to do. I mean, I think it could be as simple as that. And he liked Jon Snow. Remember when they were at the wall together, he was kind of saying to him, like, you could do great things, you know? Like, and that's why he wanted him to join up with Stannis and follow what he was telling him to do. But I think it comes down to that, you know? And also, I think that he thinks he was doing the right thing by letting the wildlings through.
Interesting.
That he wasn't a traitor, that he was actually acting in the best interest of the Night's Watch. He was helping them.
Well, and I also
right.
think that he has, you know, a slightly bigger picture perspective on the world than Alistair Thorne does, you know, and I think that's one thing he's kind of bringing to the table too. And that was at least kind of how I felt about his reactions to Jon, was like, you know, he kind of, his early, you know, obviously not in this episode, but his reactions to Jon seemed kind of like, finally I'm dealing with a grown-up, if not in age, at least in attitude. And that killed the conversation.
I'm still freaking out about this Trystane thing. Like, is that actually him that they killed? Because I'm looking at a recap and it's saying that they killed him. So I'm trying to find.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, he got on that boat, and there were all three of the Sand Snakes were on the dock.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And now all of a sudden he's not on the boat anymore. I don't think that's him. I think that's his brother. Because Tim is right. I don't think they promise him Hand of the King, but they promise him a seat on the small council.
Right. They promised him Oberyn. I misspoke.
Yeah,
They
he was going to take
Oberyn's
Oberyn's spot on the small council, so that's why he was going back. And also, they say, "What about when they say?" That's the trick. They're tricking us because they immediately say, "What about the prince?" And then they cut to him. That's not him. I think they cast a dude who kind of looks like him.
That is incorrect. That is him, and he is dead, and it was part of the palace coup going down by the ladies, and whether they like got on another little boat the next day or whatever,
way.
like,
and followed and snuck on the cut, and they were going to see a behind the scenes.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because when they show them killing the prince, there's only one of the Sand Snakes there. So where are the other two? They're not there also? No, they got in a little boat or whatever. Like, travel is not the big issue in this show. I'm just saying, if they weren't there killing Trystane, they would have been there killing the prince.
So they used Baelish's machine.
They borrowed Baelish's machine.
Travel machine.
I don't think we're the only ones confused by it, because I've read 3 recaps and they're all saying that happened in Dorne.
Yeah,
so,
I'm telling you. Well, maybe he
just
didn't
not clear.
get on the. That's what I'm thinking, because there was some question of whether he got on the boat or not. But I think they made it clear that he was getting up. I don't know, and then Jaime doesn't say, like, we have the prince or anything, you know.
So maybe the prince was coming later, but his boat hadn't left yet.
Oh, maybe they're behind him, and then they caught up with that. I don't know. This is too. You know,
his boat is still in Dorne. We're looking like assholes again.
We're gonna have to figure this out later. Yeah.
His boat is still in Dorne.
There is also the chance that it's out of time sequence, and that happened while they were still in the harbor, and those girls jumped off and they swim back. You know, like there's still.
I don't know, man. They don't really do stuff like that. I mean, that drastically. You know, that's a storytelling that that'd be like introducing a device to the story like that. That's a little too complicated. You know, like I don't know. Let me ask you this: what did you guys think of the? Oh well, let's just continue on the Jon stuff. We didn't really finish. Are we? I mean, we've waited how much? 9 months to see is Jon's. Are we going to just ask it again? So is he coming back, or do you think that he's really dead? Because I was thinking maybe he's dead. Maybe he really is dead. Maybe they're just going to burn this body in the next episode and Jon Snow's dead. And maybe he did some shooting or something. They shoot some flashback or something. I don't know. But maybe he really is just dead.
It looks pretty dead.
Look, I had this.
You remember that part in season 3 when Ned came back? No,
Yeah.
you do not.
I've had this conversation with myself and with you guys last year, and for the longest time I said, well, he's just dead. But I just don't think he is. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I just don't think.
But they did the thing with the eyes. Like, they went so far out of their way to
Yeah.
close the eyes. So does that mean he's definitely dead, or they just like chuck the eye theory because now he's going to come back?
can I?
Because they really went out of their way for the eyes.
They did. You're right. You're right. Now, let me ask you this: when they, and maybe I'm just doing some like lost shit here, but when they pick him up out of the snow, there's like a moment where Davos like looks down where he was, and it looks like, now maybe I'm crazy, but it almost looks like there's like a dragon that's formed out of the blood. Like it's like that. I'm okay. So $20. This is already on Reddit or Twitter or something. But he does give this look at just a blank spot. It's really quick.
It was a look of disgust.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it was. But I thought I saw a dragon. You know.
You're lost mythosing too much.
Well, let's talk about King's Landing. What did you guys think about that stuff? Because I thought just to see Cersei and then that the heartbreak that Marcel is dead and just to wait, she's a damn good actress, man. She made me really kind of feel. And then she was blaming herself for it and the prophecy and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, I kind of liked that. There wasn't much of it, but I kind of liked the direction that was in, though it seemed a little like, it seemed like a little off. Like, did she tell Jamie what happened with the Walk of Shame? Does he know yet? You know, like there was just, I guess there's not enough time in the episode, but it just seemed like kind of a little bit rushed. What'd you think, Tim?
Yeah, I agree with you. It was rushed, and there is a lot of things that they should have caught up on, but it's almost like, are they really going to put us through them catching up? And, you know, I like the tie-in how she's realizing now that the prophecy that we saw, the flashback last season, she thinks it's real. So, and all these things are happening as that woman said. And she kind of went off the deep end a little bit, talking about her mother's death and all that stuff, but they're both grieving, and I really felt that from them. I like that whole scene, and I don't necessarily think that we need to know right now if Jamie knows yet what happened, because they're just going to have revenge. You know, the way they're talking, they're just going to take over King's Landing again.
But that's not the revenge. I mean, that's what I'm saying. What revenge are they talking about?
I just think being Lannisters and taking over again. Because we didn't get, there's a few specifics. Like, we still don't know Davos knew about Shireen. And if he would, you know, even suggest
that's true.
Melisandre.
You're right.
So
you're right.
There's a few things that, you know.
And that's probably why they started it out exactly where the last one left. You know what I mean? Like, no time has, like, we're catching things really quick. I don't know. What did you think about it, Donald?
I think this was my problem. It was that it was just little check-ins with people, and it wasn't fleshed out. You remember how, I think it was maybe last year or a year before that, they started giving us longer scenes everywhere, and then they would just break it up more. I think they went back to the old way of, let's check in with everybody and give us shorter, less fleshed out scenes.
Yeah, we had like 2 episodes of just catching up last year, but it was longer. It was, you know, just a few people. This one we had like double the amount of people.
Yeah, which I can understand. I mean, but I think that was just the thing that had me like, I wish I could have a little bit more.
I can agree with that. I still liked it because I thought what we saw was good, and I liked the progression of where things were going. And I like that story. I like that Jamie and Cersei didn't start fighting, that she didn't say, it's all your fault. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of in the mode she was in when he left. Remember? I mean, he left to please her because she was complaining so much to him.
But she's sort of broken, too.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you know, is Jamie going to be the one to, like, push her and and be like, you know, they did this to you. We've, you know, and like, The one thing I want to mention was what's her name? Marjorie.
Yes.
Marjorie.
Did it seem to you guys that like at the end she was kind of believing what the what's his name, the High Sparrow was saying? Mike, what do you think?
Hell no. Don't take a look.
No?
No, man. She's Cersei Jr. She has not been beaten nearly enough yet. She's going to confess to some nonsense just like Cersei did, but no. Getting her out is going to be central to Jaime and Cersei's plans. They're going to, I don't know. I don't think she's buying into it at all. And I got to say, like, if they would have given us, whatever, 6 long scenes, but we don't see anything with Arya, or we don't see any. I feel like everybody would be on here like, but we didn't get blah 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 person, and that's like, you complain no matter what.
Yeah. They only have.
I thought it was because what we see, like what's important that we get out of that scene is not necessarily like the details of their plan, but the fact that they've actually now come back to this point that Jaime's been trying to get them at for 3 seasons or 2 seasons at least. And Cersei just won't hear it because she's drunk and cocky. So now she's bald and broken, and it's a much different Cersei. Like, I felt like I got what I needed out of that scene. I got the new Cersei, and I got the fact that they're planning to work together.
That who's planning to work together?
Cersei and Jaime.
Cersei
and,
okay, yeah.
I think if they actually come out and they're like, look, this is how the Targaryens used to do it. This is our kid. Everybody get used to it. Like, I don't think that'll work. I think that'll be a huge failure.
Remember, that was my prediction last year.
Well, and Jaime, has hinted that he thinks that would be okay, but I don't think that would go well for them. I think I think he's gonna kill the High Septon, and I like Jonathan Pryce, but I don't think he's gonna make it out of episode 4.
Yeah. I agree. I liked it. I just wish, I wish there was more time. And you're right. There's, like we said, we didn't see, we know we're going to see Bran, but we didn't see him. We saw everyone else. We saw, do you have anything else you want to talk about at King's Landing, Donald?
The thing is, well, I know it's not a direct answer to your question, but I know we didn't see Bran, but I don't care. I wasn't even thinking about him.
Yeah.
And you guys said that now. I remember that I didn't see him, but it would have been nice to see him. But I wasn't really thinking about him. I was more worried about, can we get just 2 extra minutes for each scene and just give us a little something to talk about for a week. But like you guys said, it was fine. Nothing was wrong with the episode. My only complaint is that I wanted more. I don't think that's necessarily that bad compared to some of my other complaints. But look, the stuff with Marjorie was fine. It just give you a little bit of taste just to keep you wanting more. That's fine. I did appreciate everything with Jaime and Cersei, but I got the feeling that the plan is going to lead to one of them leaving again, just like last year, where I just want everybody to start coming together. But I think he's gonna go off on another mission, kill the Sand Snakes, and I think there's gonna be a war starting between Dorne and King's Landing now, and I don't know. It just seems it just seems like everything that's happening in King's Landing, while it's probably the most human story, it just seems so petty compared to, everything else that we're seeing off screen. So I'm wondering how they're going to bring that together. And then getting the scene with Tyrion, we could slide over that way if you guys wanted to. But when they burn the ships, and he's like, it looks like it'll be a couple more seasons before we get to Westeros.
I rewound that and looked. Is that what they burned? They burned the ships?
Yeah, I think that's all Dany's ships that she got.
Yeah, it was all the ships and the port.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Well,
that was the one big disappointing thing is she's going back to Vase Dothrak supposedly, and now all the ships are burned. Like, that was the one that I felt like there was no motion.
Yeah. I didn't.
How about everybody running away in fear? And then Tyrion and Varys are like, we'll run right towards the problem. It was kind of a little
they're first responders, man.
Normal TV show silliness.
To me, that felt so much like Batman, Superman when the building was.
Oh man, the complaints are rolling in already. We're back to it, and I'm just gonna say maybe it's just I might be complaining about it next episode. I like their little stroll.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I thought the stuff with Danny was great. I really liked it. And I was trying to remember, because remember when Khal Drogo dies, what's his name? Jorah grabs her, is like, Khaleesi, we must leave. They'll take you away. All of the, like, he says something about, like, all of the old, like, ladies have to go there or something. You know what I mean? Like, they'll trap you or something, you know? But, I mean, I guess this is a little bit, because I think, like, we're probably all thinking the same thing. She's going to go there. They're going to chase after her. Then all of a sudden, something's going to happen. They're going to be in some wide open spaced area. And guess what's going to fly out of the fucking sky? A big dragon. And then they're all going to be like, Khaleesi, Khaleesi, you know? So just see, like, how long is it going to take to get there? But I kind of hope I'm wrong. I just like the interplay, and I like seeing the Dothraki again. They seemed a little more tame. Like that dude said he liked to cuddle after sex. You know?
I keep hoping that she's just going to go back to Marine and just let the Dothraki kill every single person there and just take over the city. And just all of a sudden, Marine is just going to become this massive Dothraki shithole, but it'll still be better than it was.
Yeah, I don't know. But, I want to say, hey, can I bring up something from last season? I want to see if you guys remember this. What happened to Stannis' ships that Jon used to go get the wildlings? Because Stannis never got them, right? He never used them again.
I think they're just parked at the ones that didn't get destroyed at Hardhome or got left at Hardhome.
Well, see, there's some ships.
Parked.
Just saying.
And there's ships, I
That's
guess,
so
when
far away
they
from where she
landed
is.
too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, look, can I say what I did like about that scene
Yes.
with Daenerys? Which I normally I have nothing but complaints about anything with Daenerys because it never seems to go anywhere, just spinning the wheels, and I just don't like her, honestly. But one of my main problems that I always have with her is that she's always like, "Oh, I'm Stormborn, never burnt, never struck by a match," and this and that, and she always has these long introductions and talks about how bad she is. And the only way she backs it up is if Jorah comes out and kills somebody or a dragon comes out. But I felt like she kind of stood on her own 2 feet this time, you know, and there was no one there to kind of save her, quote unquote, save her like always. So she kind of showed a little bit of inner strength, and she kind of fought for herself, and I that kind of made me like her a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, I liked it. What did you think, Mike?
I mean, it was all right, but her basic problem that, like, she is useless on her own is not satisfied. You know, I mean, I hope these people agree to follow her around just so they can go somewhere. But, like, her as a person, you know, I mean, I think Donald's right. Like, I think, you know, she's just kind of like, I'm just waiting for somebody to call her bluff, you know?
I think I can definitely see that, but I think it's going somewhere this time. I think she's going to win them over, and somehow they're going to, like you said, they're probably going to go back to Marine, figure out a way to get to Westeros.
Let
But
me
it just
guess.
seems-
I don't know. Maybe she'll marry somebody who's, like, in the aristocracy, you know, because that went so well last time. Maybe she'll beg for water. I don't know. I mean, it just kind of...
You know, you have a point, Mike. It's been a long time since she walked out of the fire with those dragons.
And it's
You know what I'm
just
saying? What has she done
because-
for us lately? Besides take over 2 capitals because of the dragons. But
But
she,
part of,
you know,
but part of why it's disappointing is because it's so great. You know, I mean, when she walks out of the fire at the end of season 1, it's like the greatest thing that's ever been on
she's
television.
forever
And then-
learning, I think, is that, you know what I mean? Like, I think the show does need to show her make a little bit more progress.
Yeah, but
You know,
dude, so
it
is
paints her in a
Arya,
certain
and
way.
there's never been a moment when Arya has been
That's
just
true.
like stab me in the face, like turn off the television, boring.
Yeah, that's true. It's maybe a confidence level
Yeah.
thing.
And here's
you know?
here's the other thing that they teased us with last year. They brought Tyrion over there, and they had amazing scenes together, and it felt like progress. And then they're gone. So she didn't have time to learn anything.
Yeah.
Is there a Dothraki Tyrion that I just have forgotten about?
Who knows? Well, what else is there to discuss? Is there any?
Sandra stuff?
What's
yeah,
that?
I just wanted to say about the Sansa stuff
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
yeah,
You know, I was just really happy to see. I mean, I just like part of me doesn't want to see her go back just because that's such a place of horrors, but also just because she needs to do something. Brienne, for God's sakes, needs to do something. So to see them that was one of the scenes that made me feel like, okay, like something's actually going down here. We might actually see something move this season.
Yeah, I liked it too. I was a little worried when they found him, and I was like, no, this can't, no, And then I was so awesome to see Brienne come out, and that whole thing was kind of cute too, where she didn't know how to respond to her properly.
Yeah, I did like that part.
They kind of bringing that back, because if you remember, that was such a huge part of the show in the beginning of it, and like the proper way you do things that has just kind of gone out the window.
That's what's awesome about Pod, because he even did that like last year when noticing the different sigils and like knowing all that, and Brienne's like, "What? Who's that? I don't know that." And he knows Baelish was in there, like, and then he's the one that chimes in and fills in the words for her. So it is cool to see that like people still maintain that level of respect.
Yeah, I liked it. And it was cute, too, because it looked at the end like she was going to, like, cry a little bit, Brienne. Like, she was so happy to finally be fulfilling this oath,
Yeah, that she had given up on. But here's the thing. They're going to Castle Black, I assume. Is Jon going to be back before then, or is she just going to be held captive again by these obviously evil people now?
I feel like she's on the way. She's going to run into Hodor and Rickon.
Is Hodor with Rickon?
No.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
It's Asha and Rickon.
yeah, Asha and Rickon. Something I noticed, I was rewatching. I was rewatching some of season 1, and there's all these hints that Rickon or whatever the hell the dude's name is has the same powers that Bran does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's in the book at all, but it's a lot. I never noticed it before, but it's all like it happens like 2 or 3 times in season 1, where like they both have a dream that Ned is in the crypt after he dies before they find out.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think I think that's one of those things where in the book it's spread out over 5. It's spread so far. Well, not over 5 because he doesn't appear after a while, but it's one of those things where it was more noticeable in the show because of what you're saying. Like they did it a few times in the first season.
Yeah.
Okay. And it didn't stand out as much in the book because it was more spread out, but I was left with the same impression.
Cool. Well, yeah, I thought so too. I know that that's where they're trying to go, but I figured that they'd stop wherever they'd yeah, but what's between Winterfell and the Wall? Do you know, Donald? You probably have do you have like a tattoo of the map of
the gift,
Westeros on your arm?
The gift is up there.
There's a bunch of stuff. I think you'll find out.
Yeah, Tim's got it. Most of it is the gift, which is, and it's where like kind of the people, not like the wildlings, but the people of the North live.
But that's where the wildlings, they took them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the wildlings attack. They don't really get south of Winterfell.
No, but that's where they are now.
No, Jon gave them the gift because it was empty. But there's also a few surrounding towns like Ollie's town, where Ollie was from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and fuck that kid. Man, did they make you hate him this episode or what?
Yeah, he's a dick.
So don't you just think that the wildlings are going to come down and it's going to be like a 4-second battle? Or they're just going to kill everybody and open up that door, or what?
But it was, if you noticed, I mean, it was a few men, but it was mostly the women and children that got out. So I'm not sure how angry and violent they're going to be when they just settling in. They might, kind of just get comfortable and not kill people. I'm hoping.
And you also have Ramsay planning to go up there too.
Yeah, he's pissed. He feels
He'll
threatened.
probably kill most of them, honestly.
Wait, is that Ramsay said he was going to the Wall?
Well, he's going to search out for He has his guys searching for Sansa, and then the way Roose spoke to him, it's almost like he needs to maintain his place.
Yeah.
So he's got to fight for everything. And especially if his stepmother has a boy, he's fucked.
And is it just me, or did every single one of you predict he was going to say feed her to the dogs? Because I sure did.
Well, she's just bones anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of dogs, all right. So I did some counting again, like I usually do. And when Brienne was fighting, she took out 2 guards. Pod took out 1 guard.
I knew you were going to say this.
Theon took out 1 guard. And there were these insanely killer dogs, and they just were gone all of a sudden. Did they run away?
Yeah, dude, dogs are scared of horses. No? I don't know if that's true or not. It just sounded good in my head at that moment.
That's it. That's what we're going with.
That's what it was. Good
you
job,
sold me.
Paul.
Thanks, Mike.
Michael, master of horses. Got it. Okay, can I now?
Yes.
Is there anything else to? Have we kind of covered everything?
Well, sort of, but
I want because I just wanted to ask an overall question. I was watching the show, and even more than regularly, I was thinking about the White Walkers and that hard home battle that happened, and what's going to come and all this kind of stuff, and with Jon Snow and all that. And when I was watching some of the other scenes, like what happened in what happened in Dorne when she killed him, I thought it was kind of cool because I like if she takes over. I thought that was kind of neat. But then I was thinking, how insignificant is all this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, at what point do these political machinations start to just become such a distraction to the story when we know that death is coming from the north, and it's not just in the beginning, it's on its way. Is that
definitely not until next season? I think 70% of the people we care about are going to be dead before the White Walkers get a chance at them.
Okay. Does that frustrate you at all? I was just wondering if this is going to start to become a frustration.
That's kind of what has to happen. I feel like as we wind down the towards the end, I don't want to be left hanging with wondering what that person's doing. Wonder what I want, kind of resolution. I want to know that people are going to start dying. I'm kind of happy about what happened to Doran and his guard Arrow. Right? Is that his name?
Ario Hota, man.
Yeah, right.
He was criminally underused.
I'm glad they wiped them out. Now we don't have to worry about what they're going to do, and I kind of want to trim the fat a little bit.
That's interesting. But is that what that did? Didn't that scene didn't trim the fat? That scene added fat because now there's going to be some war between Dorne and King's. You know what I mean? There's going to be another big war.
Nah, women can't hold the place. There'll be some guys that'll come in there and take over.
Oh, DJ Tim.
Oh, sorry, just kidding. No, but it did add more. But I feel like now they're going to go attack. I don't think they're going to stay there, and we're not going to have to see crappy Dorne anymore. Just my thought.
What do you think, Donald? Does the impending doom begin to distract? Do you know what I'm talking about? Did I explain it properly?
Yeah, because it's the same thing I said 10 minutes ago when I said that everything seems so petty compared to the bigger battles that's happening.
Oh, yeah.
But you articulated it better than me.
No, I'm sorry.
No, but I totally agree. I'm like, what's even going to happen in Dorne right now? I mean, in the book, Dorne had this beautiful, masterful plan, and then now obviously that's never going to happen. And I'm just thinking that they're going to squash all that stuff. And even though what Tim said was very sexist, and you should get a lot of emails about it, but I think he's kind of right. What are they going to do? I mean, they're just going to try to hold the.
But it's not about. But it's not that it's. They're not going to lose because women are running the joint.
Yeah,
they're going to lose
it was a joke, Mike.
Right? No, I understand that, but
Mike quits the podcast.
Jesus.
I didn't just unmute myself to bust your balls. I was going somewhere. There was the same reason why Doran never wanted to attack, because they don't have the numbers. They aren't big enough. They don't have, they're just not capable of doing that. So, maybe he was going to make an alliance with the flower people or something, but they can't just go do it by themselves, no matter who's running the joint. And she's got a lot of fire and passion, and she's pretty and has a lot of guards around her and thinks she can make something happen, but I just don't think they're strong enough.
Yeah, that's why
I take his word for it. I think he knows better than she does.
What we seeing is just them getting rid of the Dorn story altogether. Because did they even make it clear that they were trying to go to Westeros, or were they just trying to take the city back from him?
She just seemed like kind of like the Pinky in the Brain. We'll take over. Like she didn't really have a plan, just basically. Yeah.
I think it seemed to me like she went way back, man. You know what I'm saying? Like she went back to what happened with the Mad King, and she was like, "And you did nothing." So I think she's saying, "We're gonna start a war. We're gonna kill all those motherfuckers."
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think the story's just leading to a bunch of fighting. That's really how all this is gonna. Well, most of it is gonna end.
Did you notice they like sprinkled a lot of like subtle jokes in here? Like when she was like talking about Doran, she says like, "You guys were just sitting. Too many people sitting down the whole time. Like he could barely get up. Like it was pretty funny. There was a couple little things. Even like the like Khal Morrow, when he's trying to find. There's nothing better than a naked white-haired woman. And then all the warriors are saying stuff like, "Oh, this is better. This is better." He's like, "All right, well, it's the fifth best."
Suddenly, there's Twitter on Game of Thrones. Damn it!
Yeah.
All right. So, how about this one? The grass is like 8 inches high in the middle of that circle that the Dothraki circle Danny and George just like standing there and looks down and happens to find that ring. Come on.
Yeah, I hated that.
Whatever. I think we just have to like go just over that. You know what I mean? Like there's not even a reason. As soon as they saw the circle, they could have said the Dothraki, and they could have just kind of went there. You know, like the ring.
I don't even
wasn't
understand
necessary.
how him finding the ring makes him come to the conclusion that they have her. I don't understand it.
Because he knows that they always go around in a circle before they take some lady that they met in the field. Maybe I don't know about. Are the books more intense about or explicit about how the Dothraki have to operate? Because it was my understanding that they just like when they found like slaves or whatever, they were just like wholesale raping and killing people all the time.
Yeah, these guys seem kind of like more fun.
Yeah, am I
the
wrong
original
about that,
ones.
Mike and Donald? You read the books. Are they not? Or is that inconsistent? Because I remember in season 1 they were a bit more ferocious.
Well, from what I can remember, maybe Mike's probably read them like 3 times more than me. I mean, there's different types of Dothraki.
Well, yeah, there's different Dothraki. They have different kings. It's not totally inconsistent that some of them would be less rapey than some others.
Okay, I just didn't. I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit.
And let's be clear, they were going to rape her.
That's true. That's right. You're right, Donald.
I mean, it's not like they were like, no.
They saved her for the call, right?
Yeah. Well, she said that she was she was the widow, and according to their traditions, they weren't going to touch her.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in the beginning, the 2 guys in the beginning, I guess that's why they hadn't already raped her, is because they were saving her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He gets first dibs.
I can buy that. Yeah, I can get. Yeah,
But,
I can see. That.
Like Khal's horde of Dothraki, they would have never put up with like that guy's 2 wives talking back, or even the other guys like making jokes. Like he was so serious, and they were so like hardcore. So I guess what Mike's saying, makes sense. Like in different regions, some I guess don't have to be as tough, and that's why when she said Khal Drogo's name, his eyes like opened up, like whoa. Like he was a serious dude.
Oh, that makes sense.
He was an intense guy. So
yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And that's also better writing, isn't it? Than that everybody who's of this certain thing acts that exact certain way.
I think it's more likely that
Definitely.
they lucked into accidentally wrote it better, but maybe that was intentional.
Well, but also that was one of the things about Drogo is he was, he had gathered more of the tribes together under his Khalasar than any other call, so on and so forth. So that was one. He was not just known as a badass, but he was also kind of the George Washington of the dot. Maybe that's not the right.
He was like
word.
the Mance Raider of.
There you go. Much better.
Okay, cool. I buy that's. I'm glad I inquired about that. So, I get we've talked a lot about our initial reaction. I guess let's go around and see if anybody has anything they want to add. Mr. Mike Hall, anything you want to chat about?
I just would like for someone from HBO to send me a screener of next week.
Or
Lemon
some-
cakes. I want to hear lemon cakes. Tim Hines.
Well, before we get to that, HBO, if you're listening, we wouldn't mind some promotional gifts to give away and have some contests. So, hit us up.
It's true.
But at the Small Council on Twitter. All right, I had a lemon cake. Here's one for you. Let's see. Let me find my list of lemon cakes. All right, so we're in Marine, and you figure like Tyrion is having a rough enough time with the High Valyrian, right? And then he comes to a wall and he sees graffiti and it's in English. What's up with that?
Lemon cake. That counts.
Right? I'm saying it shouldn't have been like written in High Valyrian and at least a subtitle on the bottom. No? All right.
Yeah,
I could see it.
yeah. I second that.
All right. What else do we got here? Well, I brought up the grass. I mean, you find in a ring and giant grass like that. Like I cut grass at my house, and if I would have dropped something and it's in the high grass, I'm not finding it. It's kind of crazy.
It's not even that it's just high grass. It's like 50 acres wide, and why would they be in that one exact spot? I don't know. It's altogether stupid and bad writing.
Yeah, I guess we kind of ripped this episode up a little bit. I mean, it was good. It was Game of Thrones. It's definitely higher quality than everything else. The we kind of going over the Dothraki things. That whole thing to me was a lemon cake. But now that we kind of like set the tone of that there's different hordes and whatnot, it makes sense, and I'll buy that.
Yeah. I overall, I mean, hey, we're all, we're being critical. We're kind of criticizing the show in a way, right? We're being critical. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode. It did bounce around. And you know what? I hope that kind of they settle in next episode. I'd like to spend more time. I don't need to see everyone. But that's always been a major conundrum that this show has had, right? Mm-hmm. It's always been that way. So... and it's going to be. And I think maybe looking back, we'll see this as a good kind of like a lot of stuff happened. We're picking up and then it's settled into what's really happening. But I enjoyed, I didn't find, I mean, Brienne does have a knack for like walking into things, she's kind of magical. She walked right in, they just happened to see the troops coming. And then she walks into Sansa at the inn, and then she walks into Sansa here.
Well,
but it didn't bother me,
That's mostly because she's a plot device.
Yeah,
and they've completely taken her out of where she was in the book, so they're using her to sort of bring certain storylines together, and also, I think she also plays a big role for the women in the show because she sort of has a mission, and then she goes out and she does something about it, and she often succeeds. So,
yeah, she's great. But that's what I mean. Yeah. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, it didn't bother me either. It's just sometimes it's a little hokey, but I understand what they're doing.
But overall, I don't know. I really enjoyed that. I'll probably watch it again. I might watch it again after we're done talking.
All right, so I got this for you. When you watch it again, if you didn't pick it up the first time, the whole scene with Arya, at the end of the scene is one of my favorite shots of the whole episode. She gets hit, and the girl says to her, "I'll see you tomorrow," and she's just glancing up in her direction. And if you look in the background of her, you see a perfect shot of the giant of Bravos who guards the.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, it was beautiful, and to me, I caught that, and I thought it was worth pointing out, and perfect for a rewatch.
Yeah, that was awesome. Donald, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Not really, but now that he said that, did we even talk about Arya?
Not too much. That was a pretty quick scene. She's
Yeah.
continuing on her journey. She's still blind. It's
How long?
Oh, go
How
ahead.
long do you guys think that's going to last?
I think it's part of the lesson. I think there's an antidote to that. I don't. Maybe like three more episodes, maybe two, because she's important, and I think they're going to move her along.
Yeah, and it does.
I agree.
It does affect lock her into that. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, don't think it's going to last the whole season. I thought it was really neat the way they did it, though, where it was very clear. I thought from the beginning what it was for. Because that's one of those like, oh God, they blinded Arya. Like, what the hell? Kind of, it just seemed like such an extreme thing. But if you're learning to be a ninja, you got to learn how to block stars with a blindfold, right? So, I thought that was really like, I was glad that they gave us kind of a purpose for it right off the bat. Because what is she going to be doing now? She's got to figure out. She's not just doing that so she can learn how to keep that chick from hitting her in the face.
Oh, she's observing because like at first when you see her, you hear all the talking around her is like
Right.
jumbled up, and then all of a sudden you hear someone say something about that king's guardsman, and her eyes light up, and like you could tell she focused. It's almost like how Daredevil is like. He hears all these things, and then one thing he'll pick out and tune into, and I think that's part of the training. And we were all mad last year, like, oh my God, I can't believe she's blind. But I think it's going to help her out.
Yeah, and that's one area where they still have a little bit of book stuff that they can pull from. So I'm not going to say too much about it, but I'm excited about it.
Okay. DJ Tim Hines, you got your lemons. Donald, was there anything else besides Arya that you wanted to talk about?
Not at all, honestly.
I just had a question. My last thing is for Donald and Mike as book readers. Now that we're in this new territory of quote unquote not, brave new world, even though I think we know that they still are pulling stuff from the books. How much of this was from the books? How much of it was that Melisandre thing? You said it was kind of hinted at, but did that happen? Is this a lot of new stuff? How would you weigh it, Donald?
I don't know how to answer that question. This is about, at least from what I can remember, it's about 70% new stuff. They're
Okay.
taking a little bit of liberties, but you can still see there are certain areas where they can go back and pull some stuff out in some areas that are kind of caught up, but it's kind of a complicated question. And I know, like I said, Mike reads those books every night, so he'll probably answer it a lot better than me.
Every night before I go to
He's probably
bed, I
reading it
read
right
them
now.
to the dog. I would say, I would say even more than 70%. He's right that it's kind of hard to call because certain storylines have been nixed, but could come back. But it does. I don't think. But I personally have basically put all of those to bed. Unless they're going to do 10 seasons, I don't see how that's possible. But then also certain other storylines have been mixed into existing TV show characters. And so it's not, it's impossible to tell how long some of that stuff is going to go on. But really the only thing, and Donald, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing in the show specifically that is specifically has a resolution in the book is the Arya, right? And I don't mean like Arya's whole life. I mean like Arya sitting on the steps listening and fighting with the girl. But that's the only thing in the show that has a specific resolution in the books, right?
Yeah, that we haven't seen.
Which basically means everything but that is open territory. I mean,
Interesting.
what we have accessible to us is details, not answers,
Yeah, unless they're going to bring in some Ironborn stuff, which I kind of I'm a little bit inclined to think they're just dropping all that stuff.
Right, that's the big thing. Is there's stuff that happened in the Iron Islands that we haven't seen in the television shows, like significant stuff.
And there's a
But
huge loose thread. Like even if you can think back to the leeches,
yes,
like that's everybody died except for Balon, so
Right.
we have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
to him.
we haven't seen them or his sister or any of those people.
But the thing is, and I think that if they are going to resurrect any of that stuff, it's going to be even more of a plot device than Brienne. It's going to be one of those kind of,
Okay.
short-lived purpose things that's not actually going to go into any of the stuff that happens in the books. We just might see those characters again, but I don't think we're going to get into those storylines.
So
Which means that we are basically all new.
how did that make you feel watching it? Well, I know you've watched it. I know you read the books after you. Didn't you read? Wasn't there a mix for you?
I watched the first 4 seasons without reading the books. Then I read all the books between season 4 and season 5. So last season is the only season that I watched with any kind of prior knowledge. And I really enjoyed it. But to me, it's not, there's so much more in the books that
Okay,
they're two totally separate experiences.
I dig it. You
Yeah.
feel the same way, Donald?
I 100% agree. I watched season 1, and then I just jumped during that hiatus. I just jumped straight to book 2. I didn't even read book 1 because I heard it was pretty much spot on. So I've never actually gone back and read book 1, so I don't know what I was missing. But it was kind of a little bit confusing for a bit. They changed a lot in season 2. Season 3 was the one I was most excited for. Then it gets kind of weird the way they pulled from the books after that, but. Yeah, everything. I like the idea of not knowing. It's a different experience. I wouldn't say it's worse or better, but it's exciting in its own way. I'm not waiting for certain things to happen, and then when they don't, I'm not upset about it. I'm more like I just want something crazy to happen and just shock the hell out of me.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. Well, so concludes the meeting of the small council this evening. Hopefully later this week we will get the thoughts of Heath Snowlow, and we're open for anything you want to say on Twitter, or you can tweet us at Small Council. I'm going to open up Twitter right now. I'm going to see if anybody came at us, said some nice things. We're going to have DJ Tim Hines. Recording initial reaction cast now. Oh, okay. He's tweeting while he's on the podcast. Thanks, DJ Tim Hines.
Hey, we got a retweet, so it's worth it.
That works. So we got a lot of people to thank. On the Twitter, thanks for following us. You can email us, smallcouncilpod@gmail.com. Unless anyone has anything to add, we bid you adieu. And what does Heath usually say?
Derrick
Wrong.
Derrick
Yeah.
My little Derek Ailey's.
Darregales, my brothers and sisters. You're listening to The Small Council, a Game of Thrones podcast. Find us on Twitter at Small Council Pod. Email us at smallcouncilpod@gmail.com.